Hello, my name is Marcus Saikaley, and today I'll be presenting an overview of randomized controlled trials of interventions to improve upper extremity motor recovery post-stroke. This work is part of the core lab here at Parkwood Institute, but in particular is part of a much larger project known as the Evidence-Based Review of Stroke Rehabilitation, or the EBRSR.com. The goal of this project is to provide comprehensive and up-to-date reviews on both therapy and pharmacological-based interventions focusing on stroke rehabilitation. The last review of this database was published in 2014 by McIntyre and colleagues and contained data up to and including September 2012. At the time, the total database contained 1,063 RCTs, with 625 of those being dedicated to upper and lower motor rehabilitation. Now, with data up to and including June 2020, there are over 2,500 RCTs in the entire database, and there are now more RCTs examining the upper extremity alone than there were in the whole database at the time of this 2014 publication. Having such a large evidence base can be extremely powerful, but also comes with challenges and limitations for interpretability. A failure to appreciate past research can result in the unwanted duplication of studies and future work being conducted that does not properly address the methodological inconsistencies and weaknesses of past work. Therefore, the purpose of this study is to present an overview of the upper extremity rehabilitation literature and provide important context for researchers and clinicians alike into what this database contains and some of the factors that might affect the quality of the evidence. To do so, a literature search was performed following PRISMA guidelines, and based on the inclusion criteria listed to the right, 1,125 RCTs were identified that dealt with upper extremity rehabilitation post-stroke. Here, the number of RCTs are presented over time. On the right-hand y-axis is the cumulative number of RCTs, represented by the orange line, and on the left-hand y-axis, the per annum number of RCTs are represented by the blue bars. This figure shows that over 75% of the RCTs in the literature base have been published in the last decade, with 80 or more RCTs being published in each of the last 5 years. The size of this evidence base and the rate at which it is continuing to grow is both impressive and encouraging for the field. Next, we categorized the RCTs by intervention type. Together, 51 different interventions were identified. This particular table presents the top 20 interventions based on the number of RCTs. The main takeaway from this table is that all of these interventions have greater than or equal to 19 RCTs included, some of which many more than that. And so there are a number of different interventions, each of which are supported by a large number of RCTs. Lastly, we wanted to examine factors affecting RCT quality, one of which is sample size. Here we can see the distribution of RCTs based on sample size. This data shows that 75% of the studies had less than 50 subjects, and only 2.9% had 200 or more. This means that for the most part, this evidence base is made up largely of small sample size trials. Another important factor in the quality of the evidence is the methodological characteristics of the RCT. To assess this, we used the Physiotherapy Evidence Database Scale, or the PEDRO scale, which is an 11-item scale, all of which are listed on the table to the right. On the left is a figure which presents the percentage of RCTs that are adhering to the various items in the PEDRO scale. Some items, such as number 5 and 6, blinding of subjects and therapists, are difficult or not feasible at all for some exercise or technology-based interventions. Other items, such as concealed allocation or blinding of assessors, are capable in most experimental situations, but are not adhered to particularly well in this evidence base. In conclusion, there is a large, rapidly growing evidence base supported by a variety of different interventions. However, future research should focus on larger, higher quality RCTs to strengthen evidence from what is mostly smaller and moderate quality RCTs. Thank you.